Well, we're starting the final leg of this section of our trip, and we should be arriving at the Hearthside Grove Motorcoach Resort in just a few hours. Now, stay tuned, because when we come back, we're going to tell you about the Stony Ridge KOA that we stayed at last night. We're also going to tell you about a pucker moment we had as we were heading to that destination. So stay tuned, because the Gadget Guru's Escape to Humidity road trip starts now. Yesterday was pretty much an uneventful leg until we got to Findley, Ohio. Now, let me tell you, I like nice, relaxing routes. Like, for example, right now we're heading up. We just crossed into Michigan. We're on Highway 23. Simon's going to tell you more about our route in a minute. But you see, this is a nice, smooth, 2-lane road, not stressful at all. Well, this was stressful. Here, I'll roll some video in here so you can see it. You know, as you can see, you had concrete barriers. This thing went on for many, many miles. You had a lot of turns in there. They were tight. We got through it. Nobody got hurt. Was not my favorite part of relaxing driving, but it's part that comes with the territory. So hopefully that's going to get better. Now, after we got through there, shortly after, about 30 miles later, we arrived at the Stony Ridge KOA. So, Siren, I'm going to ask you, what were your thoughts of that specific campground?
You know, I think the campground is nice in itself, but I didn't really think that it was big rig friendly. The roads aren't paved, so you're kicking up dust. We were definitely kicking up dust with the Prevost. Even with the Jeep driving around, you want to go slow and you want to be respectful to everyone, which again wouldn't be too big of a deal if you were in a smaller camper, but it really wasn't right for us. Another thing was when I went into town last night to get food, it was a 15-minute drive to get back into town, which is over by the interstate. So really, it was more than 15 minutes off the interstate, which it really isn't that bad. But that's probably a lot farther than we normally do.
Now, let me tell you how I selected that park. I found this one through the RV Trip Wizard. And one thing I have to say, and I'm going to absolutely agree with you, not my favorite park. I understand. You know, it's a nice campground. Big rigs can fit in there. I would not call it big rig friendly. We really had to thread a lot of needles getting through there to get around trees. Dusty is an understatement. It's just kind of crushed rock out there. There's no paved sites there. There's no paved roads coming in there. The reason that I selected that one is that, you know, looking at our radius of where we wanted to be, it was right within I think we did about 300 miles yesterday. I tried to get into the one that was a little bit further north, another KOA that we stayed at last year, but that one was booked up. Remember, this was on a Friday in July, and we could not get a site that would accommodate our bus on that one, so I picked the next one I could find. The reviews on RV Trip Wizard are correct. It's got a 2 to 3 star rating on there. Big rigs can fit. It's not ideal. The utilities were good. We had no issues with power. We had no issues with water. We had no issues with sewer. They were well located. Of course, we always use our surge protector. I'm a big fan of the progressive surge protectors. And other than that, everything went well. Okay, Sarah, as I said, we're on our last leg to Hearthside Grove. Tell us about the route that we have today.
Well, from leaving the campground that we stayed in last night, we actually got back on 75 and went south. You can go north and go through Toledo. I think you go around Detroit anyway. But we chose to go south on 75 only for, I think, about a mile. And then it loops around and we take 23 north, which seems to be maybe not as busy as 75. I don't really know yet. But it looks like a quieter route anyway. There's a few little Ys that we have to take. But other than that, it's okay. At mile marker 6, which is only, I think, 33 miles from the campground, there's a welcome center. And then we don't have another rest stop until exit 82. So that's bit of a stretch, but it's not that bad.
Hey, we did that 215-mile stretch going around Atlanta.
That's true. And then we take 23. It goes up through Ann Arbor. We go through Flint. We connect back with 75. We go up through Flint. That's right around where 75 merges back in. And it looks pretty easy from there on out. We're going to stop and we're going to get fuel in Gaylord, Michigan. I think we stopped at the same place last year. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Getting into Hearthside, they do have a special way that they wanted us to go. And I think we get off at exit 310 instead. And I think we take, I'm not sure, 64 to 31, I think it is.
See, we ran into this last year. If you look at Google Maps, it's going to have you getting off at an exit that's much closer.
Right.
But then you zigzag all the way through. And we called ahead and they said, no, this is the route you take. Now, let me tell you something about Hearthside. And this is what, I like it when resorts do this. Just a couple days before arrival, they send you a detailed email. Here's exactly what you need to know to get here. Here's the exit to take. Here's the couple of turns you have to take. Here's what you have to do to get into the gate. And here's where you go for check-in. That's really, a good thing. And that's what makes them a 5-star world-class Motorcoach resort. And again, as I teased in the previous segment, I'm going to have coming up probably in the next, couple of weeks, I have a surprise of something I'm going to show you there. Something that most of us don't get to see that often. That's going to be really good. One other thing that I want to point out about this route, as we're heading up to northern Michigan, as you can see on the map, Petoskey is just all the way up there. That, you don't see a lot of big rig truck stops. You don't see the Loves, the Flying J, the truck stops of America. You see some more fuel stations that have higher roofs that sell diesel. So I remember last year we stopped it when it was a marathon. I don't know if we exited wrong. It was just, I don't say difficult. Maybe we took the wrong exit to get out. We plotted it out now. It looks easy. I guess we'll find out when we get up there. Okay, Siren, anything else you want to add for today?
I think that's about it.
Oh, there's one other thing we need to talk about. I kind of named this road trip, the Gadget Crew's Escape the Humidity road trip. But we haven't spoken about the weather. When we left Orlando, I think the temperature was 90 degrees, high humidity, it feels like was around 99, just under 100 degrees. So far, on every leg of the trip, obviously, we're heading north up to the Great Lakes area. We've seen the temperature drop 2 to 3 degrees each day. We've seen the humidity drop just down a bit. It's starting to get really comfortable. Looking at the weather for the Petoskey area over the next few days, and granted, remember, they had the heat wave that blanketed much of the Midwest and the North this summer. The highs, I think, today are going to be in the low to mid 80s, but in the next 48 hours, a front's blowing through, which is going to take us back to highs in the mid 70s and lows in the 60s. And this is the weather that we were looking for when we left that 99 feels like temperature in Orlando. Coming up in the next segment, here's what we're going to do. As you know, throughout this series, Siren and I have been using the RV Trip Wizard to plot and navigate this trip, to find our points of interest, our fuel stations, campgrounds, etc. We had 2 different roles that we played in the use of this. I actually did the planning on the computer, tried using it on a tablet as well. Then I printed off that data, and Siren used it in a printout that we followed along the trip. In the next segment, we're going to give you our opinions and our reviews and tell you if this is something that you should consider using on your next motorhome road trip. So now it's a great time to subscribe. So go on and click on that button right down here. And remember, the easiest way to keep posted of my new stories, videos, and posts is to simply like us on Facebook, facebook.com/The Gadget Guru. And you can follow Siren on Instagram at instagram.com/Siren Williams. And if you like this video, you're surely going to like one of these. I cover motorhomes, drones, campgrounds, e-bikes, all kinds of recreational products. That's it for now. I'm the Gadget Guru, Andy Parr.